Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the match preview. Crystal Palace versus Everton, 5:30 at Selhurst Park on Saturday. Feels like a little bit like after the Lord Mayor show this in many ways, doesn't it? After what we saw on Wednesday night at Goodison, but it's a big game nonetheless. Everton obviously struggling in numbers after the game as well. But if Everton can get some kind of result, then it's really important, isn't it? Because obviously we saw Everton with getting a point in the Merseyside derby, take them above West Ham, get them the same point as Spurs, and you know, and any kind of result will keep Everton in that mix, which is fantastic news.
Yeah, it is a big game. It's the 5:30, just threw me. I keep forgetting it's 5:30 on Saturday. It is a big game. It's a great opportunity if Everton could win, and you know, in an absolutely tremendous position, wouldn't we? We'd have 30 points, wouldn't we, on 27, which would be great, and we'd be, you know, practically there, wouldn't we? It'd be a big catastrophic fail to get back into trouble from there. But it'll be a tough game. The Palace are in really good form. I think they've won 4 of the last 6, so they're doing well. But we're in good form. You know, we're unbeaten in 4. It's only the only sort of thing where I'm not, you know, I'm a little bit apprehensive about it is obviously we don't know Illiman and Jai. I'd be really surprised if he's available, given the way he left the pitch at the weekend. Against Liverpool. So I think the weekend would be too early for him, and obviously Abdoulaye Doucouré getting sent off means he's another body out, so we're going to have to rearrange it again, and that'll obviously be difficult for Everton. But that being said, Crystal Palace have been not great at home this season. I think I don't know whether they've only won the same home games as Ipswich or something. Been very good away, been really dangerous away from home. So that hopefully that's something Everton can sort of play into. And even if we got out with a draw, I think you know, it's momentum, isn't it? And it keeps Palace by us. And for us now, it's just a case of getting our players back as quickly as we can, really. They've only won 2 home games this season, which is really, really surprising. The only defeat they've had in 9 was a home game against Brentford last month. So, they are struggling at home, and it's typically been a good place for us, Palace, hasn't it? It's typically been a good place for us in the Premier League era. Not too many defeats. Always been able to rely generally on picking up points there. Bar under Rafa Benitez, of course. That's the one defeat in 20 against them. That's what it is, that one. Yeah. So, but you've just said there, it's the players we're missing, isn't it? You know, the squad just seems to be getting more and more depleted. And I know, obviously, David Moyes not happy about the actions of Abdoulaye Doucouré for the final whistle. And rightly so. I mean, it's one of them, isn't it? You're inflicting on yourself in many ways. Does he get booked? Would he get booked after the final whistle for celebrating on the pitch if Curtis Jones doesn't come over? I'm not saying what he did was right. It's just, would he have got would the ref have even seen him doing it? That kind of thing, isn't it? I just wondered why he didn't just walk 4 foot, celebrate in front of the paddock, right next to the Liverpool fans. Wouldn't have done it. He wouldn't have been able to get away. No, but it wouldn't have been as fun. Let's get it right. It wouldn't have been as fun. But he's got suspended, and obviously, as you just mentioned, in Jai, we don't know. And of course, we have got players available that can come in, and Jack Harrison, you'd imagine, will start on the left. He did all right when he came on the derby, and he obviously did all right when he came on against Bournemouth. There's 2 options to replace Doucouré. Timur Abunam is one, and obviously Carlos Alcaraz is the other. I mean, just of those 2, that's interesting, because it's an away game. I actually think Timur Abunam is more suited to play in that role, and I think he's done all right in the games he's come on. Got an assist in the Merseyside derby. I think he's done all right, and with it being away, slightly got to have a little bit more responsibility. So, which one would you be looking maybe at for this? It's the only reason I might be hesitating over it, Abunam, is just simply because he's on his way back from injury, and obviously David Moyes is wanting to build him up, and he's got, you know, few minutes. Was it It's Leicester, was it?
Yeah, he's played.
Come on against Leicester, didn't he? And then got up longer against Bournemouth, longer again into Derby. And therefore I think Alcaraz is naturally fitter. So therefore Alcaraz, and I think to be honest, we done a live show and I was talking about the possible options, and I was thinking Alcaraz maybe coming off the bench, but the more I think about it, because we're losing in GI, we might be better using Alcaraz off the front man to take the ball, because he is good with, even in the Derby, skip past Van Dijk. No one ever does that, do they? He danced past a couple of their players, and because we're losing that dribbling ability of NGI, maybe it'd be an option to just use him and then therefore keep it a Boonham for maybe sort of like the last half an hour. There is another option, but it would mean Alcaraz playing wide right, and that would be to put Lindstrom in his real position. And again, Moyes might look and go, well, actually Young can play on the right and Lindstrom, but I think that's moving too many parts when it doesn't need it, when we haven't got the quality. So it is, you're right, it's a flip of a coin between those two. Harrison will play 100%, so it's a flip between. Well, what would you do, Boonham or Alcaraz?
I don't know, I am leaning towards more Boonham, because I just think, but then it does come down to fitness. It is interesting, I think, again, that philosophy when you pushed into it of, we've seen Boonham come back and have little cameos in 3 games, where I think if you had a full squad, Boonham wouldn't have got on the pitch in the 3 games. And it is interesting that the difference in that sometimes of like players that have always come back gradually, getting on the pitch. It's more of like a modern phenomenon of like you get them absolutely right and then you unleash them, and there's nothing wrong. So we don't really know where he is.
He's been training every day.
No, I know. I'm just so we don't really know where he is, and I don't know, because we don't know. Carlos Alcaraz comes on obviously against Bournemouth and has a really good impact, and then comes on the Merseyside derby. It's not necessarily the same impact. It's not grabbing hold of the game.
He's playing on the right,
and he's having to fill in a spot more than he. And that's the problem, isn't it, for the game as a whole? It's like it's become so apparent this season, I think, more than any other time, of how important it is of having players you can just come off the bench, and you don't even at times you have to sacrifice quality sometimes just for the general fitness of players. Everton as a team, as a squad going forward, have to have 20 top players if they want to compete in the top half of the table. It's so obvious now. And but I think another thing from the era before David Moyes and now is, I think David Moyes recognises that you have to make subs no matter what. If it just,
and you've got to have quality.
You've got, but I think sometimes it's just you've got to make.
Now you have. You've
got to make subs, haven't you? Because of the impact of how high intensity the game is now. You have to make subs.
Well, don't forget, James Garner's not completed 90 minutes yet. He started games, but he's had to come off, and he come off from the derby. He's looking very tired in the derby as well. I don't think he had a particularly good game. And therefore that's a concern, because you're thinking, we hasn't even done a 90 minutes and yet at the weekend we haven't got a single. Alcaraz or Boonham will be the only centre midfield player that we have on the bench, and yet we're saying, you know, Idrissa Gana Gueye has come off in games because he's tired or he's on a book and whatever. So this is why I did the Corey thing, even though I actually think he was one of Liverpool's best players, I think, the other night.
No, I thought he was. I thought he was.
Anyway, but just having him there, his legs, his work rate. I'd like the Corey work rate, brilliant. It's his passing and giving. I mean, you give the first goal away and thing from a sloppy pass. It's that kind of thing. But not having him means that you haven't got any other options, and that's why we need Dwight McNeil fit again. We need Brozier. We need Calvert-Lewin. We need Chimiti, all available. Seamus Coleman, Patterson. You know, we need these lads available just to make up that bench, so that, and like you said, you might be a case of go on for 10 minutes and you'll have to just fill in and not really bothered what you're going to do. One side of the job, you have to do the other, or whatever it is, and we just don't have any options. And, you know, looking at like the forwards, we've got no option after Beto. Michael Keane is never an option as a striker, ever. It's embarrassing.
Well, Jake O'Brien was the option, wasn't he?
It can't be Michael Keane. And if it's got to be another striker, then you'd have to you have to go with Martin Sheriff. You have to, whether you think he's good enough or not, he's a forward. But that's where we are right now. So it is a case of David Moyes piecing it together for the weekend. There will be the flip. It will be Erabunum or Alcaraz. But you're right, we've got to look at the bench and go, this is going forward, and go, we can make 5 subs because we've got some quality.
We've got to.
You know, you have to have lads who are comfortable in possession. That's become more evident for us.
Yeah.
I think the work rate and the desire is there from every single one of our players. I don't think any of them cheat. Not at all. Every one of them wants to do well for Everton. Every one of them battles and fights for it. There's a lack of quality in certain aspects of our play. As much as the managers dragged us up and flipped all the stats and all the metrics, David Moyes just flipped it all. You know, from being the first half of the season, the team bottom of the chance creation, to the top of the chance creation in a few weeks is incredible, and all the stuff he's doing, he's managed to flip that. But ultimately, in those moments, in the final third, you need a bit more quality. But you're right, you have to have it off the bench as well. You have to be able to look at it. And in the derby, I was looking at half time, I was looking at Liverpool, and they're top of the league, a different thing, but I was looking at their subs going,
yeah,
oh my God, they could make him, and all of them get in our team. And you're looking at ours, and there's like kids and stuff, and you're going, we haven't got really any options. There's even less for this game, so it will be all hands to the pump.
Yeah.
And that might very well be the key decision, Erabunum or Alcaraz.
Yeah.
It might be Erabunum for physicality.
Yeah.
Because Palace are a big side as well. So.
Yeah, it's going to be... Yeah, I don't expect NGI back.
No chance.
Anytime
let's hope we're wrong, but...
Anytime soon, well, yeah. Let's have a little look at the Palace team that beat Manchester United. Obviously, really good away win for them. And obviously, Mateta he's had a bit of a breakout season in many ways, because I know he's been here before that, but he's had a really...
He got 14 last season.
No, I know, but I don't know. He had a good end of the season.
He did have a good end.
And then this season, he has carried it on. It took him a little bit of time. I think he didn't have a great start to the season, as Palace didn't either. They couldn't score goals, but the likes of Sarr, obviously, have really improved the team, and at the back they seem to have improved loads as well.
He got Lacroix, I think he's been sensational.
He's really been really good, and Will Hughes still knocking around. Incredible scenes. But let's look at Mateta's stats.
There ain't no striker better than Jean-Philippe Mateta, apparently, and there you go. 24 appearances, 10 goals, so an XG of 9.73. 21% goal conversion rate, averages 2.32 shots per game. This is a lad who I remember doing a video for us when he was in Germany that Everton should look at, scoring goals. He's only 21. And Palace got him. And I think the only goal he scored for ages was the back heel at Brighton, and they won.
Yeah.
It was a great goal, but he couldn't score. And I remember when we beat them 3-2, to stay up, he was dreadful. He was like properly dreadful. He just looked like a son. And I was thinking, well, I got that. What I'd seen of him, I would have got that wrong. But he's really like, you know what? I'm getting sort of Beto vibes. I am.
No, it is.
That was unplanned, by the way. The jinx.
I completely agree. I think what happens is with some players is that they don't get... Loads of players come in the Premier League, and we've had them at Everton, and they don't get the time, and something drops, and there's no other player available, and it's suddenly it clicks into place. I remember when we were all crying out for a centre forward, and Marcel Brandt said, "You've got the two here," and he was somewhat Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison. And in many ways he was right, because one
played through it.
One we made a lot of money on one of them, and Dom has scored his goals, and he scored massively important goals. And he used to say that Beto, like Mateta, it doesn't happen. It happens like him as well. Those sliding door moments where, you know, who knows?
He said it himself.
Who knows
if the club?
Well, who knows if Moyes Keane, if he'd stayed an extra few weeks. And then suddenly Everton are hit with loads of injuries, as we were, and he's the only striker, and he comes through learning game by game by game by game, and you don't buy Mopes of the world, and he's in the team. And it might be the same with Beto. It's that he's got an opportunity, and we have to adapt to him, which we're starting to look like we're starting to do. We adapt to him, and suddenly he's I can have loads of confidence. People have confidence in him as well, and you don't worry about all the things he doesn't do or can't do.
Well, it's up to the other players to pick the slack there. Everton,
which is what I thought the Corey actually did in the derby. But
Everton for too long have had Dom. This isn't a criticism of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because this happened with Duncan Ferguson. And the easy ball is just smash it.
Yeah.
And it's encouraged at sometimes it's encouraged, just do that then. And it almost becomes the fault of the lad up front that you're whacking balls to. It's not him. And that's what we've done, and that our team has become accustomed to doing that with Calvert-Lewin. And Beto forces us to play differently, and David Moyes has recognised that. And the other players then become more pivotal, the creative players. A centre forward ultimately should be the lad who just puts the ball in the net for you. That's all it's about, really. Everybody else are the ones who should be the skillful players, the creation. It shouldn't be we play one up front, we're 40 yards away, and because his touch isn't amazing, he doesn't play. Because I don't care if he can't trap a bag of cement. If he puts the ball in the net 15 times a season, with Everton finishing the top half.
But again, that's what
Palace have done.
That's again, it's the idea of cutting corners on the way you play, because if your style is always dictated to by your centre forward, and you just keep going long, how are you ever going to improve as a team? And if you say we're going to adapt to the centre forward and start helping him, then you start playing it round more and there'll be ups and downs. And we saw that the weekend with Bournemouth, not being able to get out, trying to play through the press, which we couldn't. Did better in the second half, and then in the derby we adapted it more because we had the Corey, and we used the Corey as a physical battering ram as well, and he was in there. And we played, it was more like a 4-4-2 at times, so that'll be the difference obviously this week, because you don't want to isolate Beto in a game like this. So that might be where you go, no, actually we are going to play Carlos Alcaraz right up with him, because he needs that, and we need that to play, because because if we're going to keep doing this, like Moy said, we're going to do it the right way in many ways. We're not going to cut corners. We're going to, because ultimately there might be games where you go, could have got a point out of that under the last fella, but then the next game you're going to win. You're going to win the game because so you are ahead, because that's what a lot of teams have sort of clicked onto in the last few years, is attacking football creates wins. And one win is better than having, a couple of draws or whatever. So yes,
science.
It's science and logistics, which are my favourite two things. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but it's a tough game. Palace again. They're having a weird season, because
where are they in the league?
I top of my head, are they 12th?
The 12th. No matter what happens with Palace, they're always 12th. They cannot win for 6 months, then win 5 games to 12th.
It's a black hole.
It's just
it's their just relaxed zone, isn't it?
It's just Crystal Premier League.
Shouldn't say 12. Should just say Crystal Palace.
And before the ball's kicked, they should just have. There's the final league table. Palace there. Everything else play around it, but that's Crystal Palace. As
I said, they're the sun. Everyone else just moves around them. Everyone else just moves around.
And that's by the way, that's a compliment to them. They're never ever in any worries about relegation or not, and the fans are brilliant at Selhurst Park.
No, it's not.
That's just where they are.
For the budgets, they haven't got. They don't have massive budgets.
No. Look what they've done with Gay. They've got him, and now I know Spurs and Chelsea, and looks like he might be going back to Chelsea, but bought in, developed him, brilliant. Eze, brilliant. They had Elise off to Brien. Mateta, a few clubs sniffing round.
Well, that's what they do. Eze will be the next one, won't it? But they just got basically his namesake from Millwall. He scored with his first touch. That's what they do. And they are like us in some ways, because they've got the next one, haven't they, off the block, the ground now. We've got ours, and when ours goes, everyone will go, oh, look at Palace's. Palace is the old-fashioned ground, because that's amongst the streets as well. And I know they're trying to build a big stand. We've mentioned that loads of times, and that'll really help them. Financially as they move on. But they do really well for what they've got. And
I do love Steve Parish. I've got to say, he's a big, just what he's done there, and there's a fan and everything. I think the story's great. They went 2010, wasn't it? They were basically going out of business, and the fans marched, and so it's been a brilliant story.
And they have massive highs. They have their highs, and then they'll have lows, and.
But they're always 12th.
They're always 12th.
So fair play.
Natural position. Fair play to them. And if they ever get 11th, then...
They got 10th last season. Yeah. They broke the anomaly of 12th, but they're in 12th again now, so fair play.
But look at the state of the world at the moment.
Well, that's it. The world's in flux because Palace, they dared to move up 2 places.
No, that's you got to go back to 12th.
Everything
might settle down.
Everything will settle when you're 12th.
Down. So, yeah, tough game. Would
you be happy with a draw?
Do you know what? I would be, because I just think that derby will have taken so much physically and mentally out of our players. And then you take a couple
of... It's a quick turnaround.
You take a couple of... I know they played Monday night. You take a couple of players out of our team, and you know it's just not the same.
But it is a game we can win.
No, it is a game we win.
Because we're not great at home.
I'm not saying we can't. And it's just again, it's another test. And let's see what happens. So there you go. Tough game. We'll see what happens. But if we can not get beat. Just because of the way our squad is, I think that'll be another point. Just knock on another point,
away,
and also keeps the good start of David Moyes' Premier League second coming at Everton going. So
mouthful, but worth it.
Well, I got round it. I wasn't sure. I got lost halfway through what I was going to say. So
fair play.
There you go. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Tell us what you think of this game. Give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. We want more great videos. Join us over on Toffee TV Premier. The link is in the description. QR codes come on the screen now. See you later.